of customers. Like if you had a physical location, like a stand, would you want your stand to be in the heart of like Venice Beach, or would you want it to be just on some random cul-de-sac in the middle of nowhere? So let me fix the YT camera. There we go. What up, YT? It's been a minute. We'll talk about it why in a second, but we are back live on the YT. Georgios, what's good? Actually, I guess we could talk about it now while we wait for more questions. Going through some personal stuff. Decided to take some time off. That was from social media. That was from a lot of work, but we're back. Let's see. Wish I could ship my Canadian units to US simply through Amazon. That would be great. Yes. What up, Georgios? Good to see you. Good to see everybody up in the live. We are back. I think we're going to do some live product research today, but let's get the live to like, we'll do an easy goal, like 2K likes, and we'll do some live product research. For now, we will get it going. Have you noticed TikTok bugging recently? Yes, it's because the algorithm's changing due to the sale of TikTok. So, so a bunch of people were getting like 0 views, or like the view, like even on my videos, it's weird. Like on my end, it'll show a video has like, let's say it shows the video has like 30 likes, but it'll show that the views are 7 views, 30 likes. And that's a few creators. I even texted one of my buddies about it, and he was like, yeah, it's the algorithm changing. So kind of just, if you post content on TikTok or you see content, well, first, if you post content on TikTok, you kind of just have to be patient. Number 2, if you consume content, like for example, mine, and you're like, I don't see Luke's content anymore, you might just have to go to my page as the algorithm starts to get worked out a bit. Is it possible to replace 9 to 5 with private label? Yes, most definitely. Is it guaranteed? No. Is it possible? Yes. It's been affecting Europe too, much less than Americans. Oh, the algorithm change? Yeah, I mean, it was weird. For a sec, I thought my TikTok was broken. It's everybody's TikTok, so just got to push through and see how it plays out. How much profit do you make with one product, and how much do you take out and reinvest? Well, every single product is different. I have 40 plus, 50 plus products, including variations on Amazon. So there's not a one, like literally every single one makes a different revenue and profit. That being said, we have products that make a few thousand in profit a month to 5 figures in profit a month. High 5 figures, mid-high figures in profit every month. So, I actually lost what you said. How much profit do you make with one product? And then in terms of reinvestment, it depends where we are. Like on a new product, I'm reinvesting everything, all of the profit, so that I can build the product up. On like a product that I have on this account, for example, we are taking a decent percentage of redistribution, and then depending on the season, we may reinvest a little bit more. Go to watch that new YT video you just dropped. Looking to launch my second item this year. I love it, Kay. Yes, everybody go check out the YT video that I posted. It is a gem, how to get or increase your sales on Amazon. If it was a more catchy, or if it was a good title for views, I would have actually named it How to Find Gaps in the Market on Amazon. This is yearly sales, Kareem, and that's 1 out of 4 seven-figure seller accounts. And then there's also a brand new seller account, which I have made multiple videos about on my TikTok recently. I've been documenting that journey for all of you. So if you haven't checked it out, if you haven't watched that series or any of those videos, I'm proving a point that anybody can start selling on Amazon with a brand new account, brand new products. And so, yeah, showing it off. Do you use Excel for data tracking, or does Data Dive and Seller Central do the stuff you want to track? Yes and no. Well, yes to your first part, yes and no to the second part. It will track some things, but there's some things that I internally want to track. And so for that, I would use an Excel sheet. Yes. Got to go for a run, Luke. Take care. Thanks for all the content. Of course, Kay, appreciate you and everybody. I make this content for free for all of you. So everybody, who supports it, I appreciate you. We got a YT comment. Are you live with Kevin? Hello, bro. What up? What up? No, I am not live with him. I have only done like 3 or 4 lives with him. Usually we do the lives solo dolo. Going to Georgios's thing because I want to stay on that. Well, actually, the engagement on the TikTok, the questions are always great. The engagement when I ask a question is like, I graded a D minus. But how many people in the live currently and actively sell on Amazon? I'm not even going to wait for a response because the engagement is like a D minus when I ask questions like that. But if you are selling on Amazon, you need to be tracking all of your metrics. The amount of people who will just list the product and then they'll do no tracking, it's like having a treasure map. And you're like, I'm going to go find the treasure. X marks the spot. And you're in the forest or wherever. Yeah, let's use forest, trees, all of this stuff. But you're blindfolded trying to look at this map. That's the equivalent of not tracking your metrics in specifically Amazon, but in business in general. So like if you currently sell on Amazon right now and I asked you, what is your tacos total advertising cost of sale? Or what's your average conversion rate? Or what's your average click-through rate? If you couldn't answer these questions for me, that means you probably don't know it. Most likely. There's a small chance that you know it and lost my train of thought, and you just, or that you have it tracked and you just don't know it by heart. That's a small chance. More than likely, you just don't know what your conversion or any of these metrics are. You need to understand these things. It's probably, assuming you have a good product, it's probably the biggest reason why people lose money on Amazon. Right? That's not what we want. There we go. I'm having a little trouble to differentiate my product. Not sure if to change it a lot or barely any. I am posting a YT video on differentiation next Monday. It's going to be very in-depth, a really solid one. I've posted TikTok videos about it, but you'll kind of have to dig through and find those. My recommendation, Data Dive, use their AI software to get ideas for differentiation. You don't want to rely on it. Never rely on software. And then kind of start formulating your own differentiation based on customer. The reason I really like it is it scrubs every competitor listing that you input and scrubs every review, both good and bad, from those competitors that you input. And it gives you like an analysis, like customers like the packaging. Customers don't like that it doesn't have an extra straw if you were selling a water bottle, so on and so forth. And so then you can kind of start to figure out a way to add value into the market. Once you do that, I would use something like PickFu. Take your top competitors who are similar than you, or just your top competitors in general. Take their product. Actually, how about I show you guys this? You guys want to do that? I think that would be fun. I'm not even going to ask. Engage, like I said, engagement when I ask questions, D minus. The questions, A plus, when you guys ask them. Engagement, D minus. So let's just do this. We're going to do it in an unexpected masterclass. Let me pull up some of these softwares and all of that good stuff. No, I'm not going to differentiate a product for anybody, but I will in fact, show you guys the basis of differentiation. So let's go here. Give me one sec. I'm pulling up all of this data, and then we'll jump into it. This is kind of like a sneak peek into the YT video as well. YT, I'm going to share this with you guys. Give me a second. Just logging into PickFu, logging into Data Dive, because I already did all of this. So we'll just use the example that I've already ran through. And we'll go over live differentiation real quick. A little, like I said, speedrun masterclass. Or wait, oh, I didn't. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Almost done. Thanks for your patience, but it's going to be worth it. Okay, here we go. What I don't like about Excel is chance of error upon data input can be high. I mean, double check your work. I wouldn't worry about that too much, Georgios. I've probably input thousands, if not tens of thousands of lines into Excel throughout the years of data. I don't think that I've ever made like a detrimental mistake on inputting it. All right, let me share my screen with YT. On this account right here, 9. Across accounts, 50 plus, including variation. My favorite categories are, there's more good categories than bad, so it's always easier for me to say the bad, but home and kitchen, kitchen and dining, office products, baby products, toys and games, pet supplies, tools, home and improvement, sports and outdoors. I already said health and household, and some patio and lawn. All right, let's do it. Let's turn my computer on do not disturb. Share the screen with YT. Okay, so this is a sneak peek of the new YT video that's coming out on Monday. Well, this is kind of how I would like, and I'm actually not going to spoil the video. I'm going to give you guys a baseline. Go watch the video because we actually live differentiate this product. I show you exactly how I would differentiate it. Where's my handy dandy pointer? My desk's kind of a mess right now. About Data Dive, it's cool how the market competition level is showing. Yeah, I really like Data Dive. It's not even that I'm like biased. Okay, I think I lost my pointer, so we're just going to use this one. Okay. So this is Data Dive's AI brief. Like I said, new YT video is coming out on this on Monday. What day is Monday? Let me make sure I don't have notifications on here. So Monday is, I still don't know what day it is the 2nd. So February 2nd, doing live differentiation on kids' binoculars, but I would plug it into the AI tool. The reason why, so you can select certain competitors that are relevant. Make sure, well, actually, I'm not going to explain it super in depth because, like I said, there's a video coming out on this on Monday. So then what it's going to do is it's going to scrub all of these competitors. It's going to give you attributes included in the listing and then like a frequency. So like the usage of the product, included accessories, and then how many times that shows up in the listing. And then it's going to show you what customers like. So this is scrubbing all of the competitors that we selected. It's scrubbing their good reviews. So then we have a frequency. So like Loved by Children was mentioned 170 times throughout all of the good reviews for these listings. And there's a few more here. These were all the competitors that we selected, right? Durable, great gift, good quality, perfect size, fun for kids, lightweight, good value, right? So it's going to give you all these attributes. And then it's going to show you what customers dislike. Same thing, pulling from the bad reviews, poor magnification, cheaply made, not real binoculars, stuff like that. Then we're going to scroll down here. It's going to give you ideas. This is where you don't want to rely on the software or software ever, but you can definitely take ideas from it. So I'll give one sneak peek into what I did pick. And this is actually the smallest aspect of differentiation, but I'll give you guys this one because I want everyone to watch the video that's coming out on Monday. YT at Luke Basha. But so different magnification options for the zoom on the binoculars. I like that. So if it was possible for us to do like a 2, 4, and 8x zoom option. And so that's value added ideas. I wouldn't take this entire list. I would just kind of scroll through it, and it would help give me ideas on what to launch. And then it's going to give you customer avatar. So who's actually buying this product? You know, parents of preschoolers, outdoor adventure family, education enthusiasts, bird watching beginners, safety conscious parents, young explorers. So now you can kind of start to base your differentiator off of your custom avatar, because it's important to understand who's buying your product if you're going to try to sell the product. It's like the Wolf of Wall Street reference, like sell me this pen. Like I'm not going to sell. What's a good example? I'm not going to sell protein shakes to a toddler or an infant. You have to understand your customer base, and then that's going to help you both sell it and present it and create an offer. So once I created a list, which again I do live in the video coming Monday, I would then come over to something like PickFu, and I would create. Well, actually, first I would go to like ChatGPT, and I would create an AI render of what I wanted. So let's say I was selling like a water bottle. And the water bottle that I was going to sell was going to be polka dot themed. That was my differentiator. I don't think that's actually a good differentiator, but just to keep it simple and help you guys visualize it, I would tell ChatGPT, hey, create a polka dot version of this water bottle. It would create it. Then I would come over to something like PickFu. I would upload my image, and then I would take my top competitor, and then I would take another top competitor. Definitely at least 2 different competitors that I'm testing against. Oh man, sorry, T. I forgot to share the PickFu with you. There we go. Then I would ask a question. So it's like, what product would you rather buy? Then I can do a sample size, minimum 50. I think 50 is low, 75, 100 is better, but minimum 50. United States, assuming you're selling in the US. If you're selling in a different country, then obviously select that country. And then with demographic, you can do like Amazon Prime customers. You can do, let's say it was like, say you're selling a baby product for newborns. You can select it like parents for kids or babies 0 to 12 months. And then I would create the poll. It obviously does cost something to create the poll, but I'll explain why I think that that's okay. Now, if my version that I selected on PickFu significantly won the vote once it was done versus the other 2 that I dropped, now I have market data before I ever spend money on a bulk order, right? It's almost like proof of concept before my proof of concept. So the poll actually would go up. So if I added, so like for example, add an option, we see it goes up. Let's say I wanted to do like audience of 75, and then let's say that I wanted to do like let's say I wanted to do, are you a member of Amazon Prime? So Amazon Prime member, so that would bring it up. Okay, so anyways, let's say I had to spend 105. I'd rather spend 105 to get proof of concept before I went and spent 3,000 or 4,000, then to get my proof of concept to see if somebody likes the product or not. So if you're not, this is something that I actually started doing within the last like year or 2. If you're not doing something like this, then you're potentially, I wouldn't say leaving money on the table, but throwing money off of the table, because you potentially spend money on something that the market and the customer doesn't actually want. So does that make sense? And if we get to, you know what, maybe we'll plan it, because the problem with the AI debrief is if I wanted to redo this, it takes like, it actually, I think there's a disclaimer somewhere. Hold on. Does it have a disclaimer? No, it usually says when you start it, it says like this will take like up to 10 minutes. So maybe we'll pick a product, I'll pre-select them and start the analysis. And then on TikTok Live, we could do it this week. You know, if we get to 4K likes on this live, then we'll do that. Not today, but we'll do it. Maybe we'll plan a day. We'll either do it tomorrow or Thursday. I'll let you guys pick the product too. So you guys pick the product that we differentiate. Can't be a product that you sell, has to be a saturated market. And we'll do the analysis. And then when we come, I won't touch it until we go on live. We'll go through this together. So the, attributes, we'll go over what customers like, dislike, and then we will create our own differentiator. I'll even, you know what? I think this will be fun. And I'll find a way to record this. So not only will we do that, we'll create a render using AI, and I'll even pay for a pick-fu poll. So like, if it's 150 or whatever, I think that would still be fun. A fun case study. As long as I get content out of it, why not? So we can do that. Let's run this up to, like I said, 4K likes. And then we'll lock it in. Maybe we'll either do it this week if you guys want, or we can do it on Monday, which I know that's a while from now, but we can do it on Monday to kind of kick off the release of the YT video on differentiation. So that's going to be a good one. Make sure that y'all are subscribed to the YT, have post notifications on. Same thing on TikTok, live notifications, all that good stuff, because we're always dropping gems, multiple TikTok videos. We're back in the swing of daily or weekly lives. We do not go live every single day, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Is it a job? What a job can I start? It's not a job. It's a business. You need capital to start it. You need to be willing to put in the work. It's not a get rich quick scheme. I mean, maybe a little hypocritical, but there's always these big numbers and flashy numbers online. And everyone's like, if I just want to start, I think I want to start. And I don't want to put in that much work. I don't want to turn my life around. I'm not saying that you're in this position, by the way, Bay. I'm just speaking generally. I don't want to turn my life around, but I like the idea of starting a business. It's easy to think of an idea. Okay, I'm going to create a rocket ship that can go around the universe in 30 minutes, and we're going to charge people for intergalactic trips. Wow, that's a sick idea. I'll be a billionaire. I'll be richer than Elon. Cool idea, bro. How much is an idea worth? The execution upon an idea is what's worth something. Funny story, maybe not funny, but a story. When I was working for my cousins, they're developing products and stuff because they manufactured their own products. And I remember I came up with such a good idea. And this was all like in good fun and a joke, by the way, but it's a good lesson. And so I give them this idea, and they were like, yeah, we're going to roll with that. That's a great idea. Literally the next day, we're in production for this product. They were able to move quick. Cool perk, I guess, of being your own manufacturer. And I say to them, I was like, hey, so what's an idea worth? And then, my cousin laughs. He's like, absolutely effing nothing. And that ended up becoming like a joke between us. Like, hey, how much is an idea worth? Because you could give me a cajillion dollar idea, but it's worth nothing until somebody actually goes and executes on it. I have this idea. I'm going to be an Amazon seller, and I'm going to make $1 million my first year selling, and I'm only going to invest $5,000 when I start, and it's going to be a cakewalk. Cool story, bro. Cool idea. How much is it worth? Zero until you do something about it. I forgot about that story until now. I don't even know how that got sparked, but I need to make a note of that because that's a great video. What up, Rihan? Is it fine to leave thank you notes on that may ask for reviews? If it's an honest review, if you ask them for a 5-star review or try to lead them off of Amazon or tell them to email you, I know you may have seen it on orders before, but that's against terms of service. That's like the common response that I get. I'm not saying, again, if you haven't noticed, by the way, I speak generally after I answer a question. So never think that it's about you. But people will be like, oh, I want to leave my email for customers. And I'm like, well, that's against terms of service. They're like, well, I see other people do it. It's like, yeah, other people sell banned products on Amazon. Does that mean that you should go sell a restricted product on Amazon? No, I do not think that that's a wise decision to make. Kind of like, I know somebody who did something where it was like some review manipulation. I advised against it. In fact, it's in my curriculum where I advise against it. And they went and did it. So each entrepreneur's discretion advised. If I have a list of keywords my competitors use to rank on the first page, can I use them in my listing and PPC campaigns, hoping they'll easily get me ranked higher? If so, how do I use them? Yes. And Elise, go watch my last video on YT, which you're on YT. I have to say it like that because of TikTok. But go watch my last video. It's literally going over exactly what your question is. A full tutorial. I walk you through it. So watch that video. Go drop a like. Go drop a comment if it helped you. Just so I'll know, because I'll know that you were in the live and then went and watched that video and get some feedback. Should I just add a thank you then? Don't ask for a review. Like I said, you can ask for an honest review. You cannot ask them for a 5-star review. You cannot influence. You cannot incentivize a 5-star review. Do people do it? Yes. Is it a fast track version to get your account flagged or even potentially suspended or banned? Also, yes. There's a clip of you in ecom giving reasons why you think post 6 months you can take profit, but ecom said 1 year. Is that in the video that him and I had? I also think that I said 6 months to a year, because in pretty much every one of my videos where I've talked about it, I say a year I say 6 months to a year, or 3 to 6 or 5 reorders. The reason that it's always been a year for me is because that's what I was told when I first started selling. It was like, hey, when can I started crushing it. I was like, when can I go get my own apartment? My cousin's like, you got to wait at least a year or reinvest back into the business for at least a year. I was like, a year? She's like, yeah, you have to get it to a point where it can actually sustain itself. And that's something that I also think turns a lot of people off from business. I found that out after I launched. That's how, and I don't say this as as a bad term or like derogatory, but that's how ignorant I was in the process. It was just like tunnel vision. Yes, do the task. Caveman status. You know what I'm saying? Like literally brain empty, just what's in front of me. This task is, what's your supplier? I do private label. So every single one of my suppliers is different. You don't just like go find a manufacturer and that manufacturer is a supplier for remotes and controllers and water bottles and game toys and baby products and this and that. It's like, no, if you want to sell a pair of scissors, you find a manufacturer for scissors. If you want to sell a toy product, you find the manufacturer for that specific toy product. Do you stock your product? I don't touch my product. My manufacturer manufactures it. They send it to Amazon. Amazon picks, packs, and ships it to the customer. But it's good you didn't know, because if you knew, maybe you wouldn't have done it. I don't think so. But yes, I do think that was one of my superpowers. Like, I think that regardless, I was going to start Amazon. What did I have to lose? But yeah, I talk about my superpower when I started is like, nowadays, I'll say all of you, not all of you in this live, but like the general population, all of you are like sitting here, worrying about like, what do I do if I launch a product on Amazon and I start running Amazon ads and my Amazon ads don't convert? Like, bro, I didn't. And you're wondering that before you've even done product research. I can tell if somebody's going to be successful selling on Amazon before they even start. Before you find a product to sell on Amazon, if you and I have a 15-minute conversation, I will be able to tell. Do I bet 100%? No. but do I have a pretty good grasp on it? Yeah, for sure. I would say that my batting average on that puts me in the Hall of Fame. So, excuse me. So it's like when people are putting conditions on themselves, when people are sitting there saying like, asking those questions that are completely irrelevant to what they're doing or the task that's in front of them, most cases it's not looking up, right? It's not looking up whether that person will even start. If you don't start, then it's impossible for you to be successful. Tunnel vision. I've had people from the lives, comments, and some of my students who like remind me of myself when I start. I don't want to say, I almost want to be careful saying it like this. This is if it's ingrained in you. Like if I say this and you're like, okay, well, that's not really me. That's not really what I'm going to do, but I'm going to think that. And then, oh, Luke said this, he's guaranteeing success, right? No, that's not what I'm saying. But every student and every person who I've seen have that mentality, I have seen become successful on Amazon. Maybe not their first product, but I have seen everybody with that mentality. Ignorance is bliss. There's a reason why that's a saying. Stop focusing on step 99 and start focusing on step 1. If you haven't found a product, you shouldn't worry about Amazon ads. You shouldn't worry about your listing. You shouldn't worry about reviews. You shouldn't worry about, literally, you should not worry about anything. Do I have this good mentality? What I think is one of your really strong suits is that you do have that. It's that just push forward. What's the task in front of me? Like I got the opportunity. I usually don't take the calls for the AMZ Masterclass mentorship. 2 months ago, I decided to take a few of the calls. Iman's always been in the lives, and I actually got to hop on a call with Iman before she joined the program. First off, Iman's always up in the lives, always asking questions, always learning. Now, Iman is learning up. This is something that my cousins and I talked about as well. Now, sometimes there would be questions. So they're trying to phrase this right. There's two different sides. There's people who ask questions that they're not even at and have never even started. 1%, and this is where I think Iman falls, people who ask questions that they haven't gotten to, but they're taking action in the meantime. So it's like, okay, I'm learning, let's say I'm learning product research. Maybe I'm contacting manufacturers and I have to wait on responses. Like instead of just sitting there doing nothing, it's like, okay, well, I know that once this step's complete, I'm going to get to this step. Let me absorb all the knowledge that I can. That I also think is somebody who long-term, again, I can't guarantee success. I'm not a fortune teller. I'm not God. But people like that, I see being successful as well. Because there was a lot of ignorance in my journey, but there was a lot of things that I did try to learn up on. Because this was the era of when Gary Vee was, Gary Vee's still popping, but at least, 2019, it's when that self-help information, Gary Vee, Ed Milet, Tom Bilyeu, all of these guys. And so there was Grant Cardone. There was stuff that I was learning. I was learning a little bit about real estate back then before I even had the money to invest in real estate. I'm not a real estate expert, but I was learning up. So did I have the capital? No. But was I just this guy who's I'm going to learn about real estate and do nothing about it? No, I was working on my Amazon business. I was learning a little bit about real estate. I created this successful Amazon business. Once I had the capital to go invest into real estate, I did, right? So two sides. Randy, thank you for the follow. What up, Patel? 99% gain. Where you at? Nah, no, just kidding. I don't know what you're saying. When's the big announcement? Probably going to get pushed back to February. I'm just getting in the swing of things, brother. We're getting back into the lives. We're doing our first group call with the students in a minute because I took a little hiatus. Coach Jimmy texted me. He's going to get back into the call. So we're back on the up and up. How to find products to start. I just recently posted a video on this on TikTok. I like the Amazon search method. If I said that and you're like, I have no idea what that is, I would go through my content, both TikTok and YT, and I have a video on how to do product research. My favorite method in 2026. 90%, 99% as to what you said. That 1% are on top of it. Oh, got you. Tier's doing good. Yeah, for sure. You do wholesale. No, wholesale is haram. I do private label. The best business model on Amazon. I'm biased, by the way, if you can't tell. I do private label. Of course, I'm going to think it's the best, but it also is fundamentally the best. I can prove that. In one video, you advised to have reviews before you launch a PPC campaign. Can you explain the process, please? Enroll your product into the Amazon Vine program. Give away up to 30 products, whatever you're comfortable with. Get reviews. Startup capital for first product launch, anywhere from 3 to 6K, depending on the quantity that you order and depending on the size, weight, and cost of the product. You know, like launching a marker is going to cost a lot less than launching a desk. Thanks. Going to check your videos now. Have a good one. You too. Also, shameless plug, y'all make sure that you're following the page because I be posting lots of gem videos. Do you think it's better to start arbitrage than private label? Nope. There's not a world that we live in. There's not a multiverse where I think arbitrage is better than private label. Any thoughts on Amazon denying new products recently because they're trying to ban hijackers and bad sellers? Haven't seen it. My shipment delivery is February 1st, hopefully. Let's go, Patel. I love it, bro. Wishing you Godspeed, my friend. Godspeed on the journey. Your feedback is extremely valuable. I appreciate that, Iman. You're on the journey. God's plan. Keep hustling. And another thing. Oh, maybe I'll keep that one myself. But yeah, you're hustling. Okay, I heard a few guys talk about it on TikTok, so I was wondering if you came across it yet too. Georgios, this goes, I think you heard me say this before. This goes back to be careful of this social media, Amazon / e-commerce echo chamber. It has become more prevalent in the last few months than it ever has been. I mean, I've been making content on TikTok for years now. And I'm telling you, it is more now than ever. So yeah, I'm not going to get into that, Patel. But let me go back to Georgios' thing. So you have this very small group of like okay, so you have Amazon sellers, right? That's top of funnel. And then you have middle funnel, and that's Amazon sellers on TikTok. And then bottom of the funnel, you have small niche of Amazon sellers who find themselves in a TikTok community. Now, what happens is at the bottom of the funnel, okay, perpetuates a narrative. And this isn't just people who make content. So let's say like there's 2 people who make content perpetuating this narrative. But then there's 20 people within that small niche community who are, you know what I'm saying? That's bottom of the funnel. So these 20 people are pushing out a narrative. And then anybody outside of that feels like, oh my gosh, this is Amazon as a whole. So like part of that group, I'll hear people say like, Q1 is cooked. This is the worst. Like something's wrong with Amazon. It's broken. This is the worst Q1. It's like, first of all, how do you know that? This is your first year selling on Amazon. Second of all, like my sales are fine. On existing accounts, we're literally on par with where we would be with a percentage drop in Q1. In fact, we're having better Q1s than before. On my brand new account that we finally got the product back in stock, we're doing hundreds of dollars in sales profitably, right? Literally, I just checked literally today, we're at 350 in sales. It's only 5:35 p.m. So then this narrative is like, oh my gosh, Q1 is cooked. Amazon sellers, it's so bad. I can't believe it. Oh my goodness. And then the reality of it is there's so many more Amazon sellers and there's so much more outside of this little niche community. And that's why, and that's one of the negatives of social media is like you can get caught up in an echo chamber. You sell on TikTok Shop as well, or just FBA? FBA is the number one, but our own sites hosted by Shopify, TikTok Shop, and Walmart Online. First product launch plus PPC cost equal 3 to 6K. Yes. Amazon is hard, bro. I'm almost at launch and God, the anxiety up until now has been crazy. Just got to push through, my friend. That's that. I mean, I was just listening to an interview, and for anyone who doesn't follow this sport, hang with me here. We're going to circle it back. I was just watching an interview with Alexander Volkanovski, arguably one of the best UFC champions ever, right? Not the best, but in the GOAT category. He talks about, and he's had, what's Volk's record? He's at 31 professional fights. Champion, one of the best to ever do it. And he talks about how every single time he steps out, he gets butterflies. That's it. That's that. You know. Now there's also fighters who say, no, I feel calm. Who was it? Justin Gaethje was talking about how like he's about to go to war and he always has some wars and he walks out and he feels bliss, right? Feels nothing. Everybody's going to be different, but it's a very normal feeling when you're stepping into the unknown or stepping into something big to feel butterflies. But like, look at somebody like Alexander Volkanovski, world-class champion. That doesn't deter him. Those butterflies don't make him fear. There's a task that has to be done in front of him. You can feel all the butterflies that you want in the world, right? But when you step in, and my cousin used to tell me everything in business and everything in life is related to fighting. And I always disagreed with him on it. But in my later years, I agree with him. When you step into that octagon, which is when your product goes live, it's you and your opponent. And in business, that's you versus you. You're standing in front of you and the market, I guess. Maybe you have two opponents. And you're locked in that cage. You can run, you could call it quits, but that's not an option, right? Like I say that not really it being an option. Or you face the task in front of you, brother. That's that's life in a nutshell. What's your ethnic background? Egyptian. How do you kind of know when you have a good product? Sales, profitability, conversion, organic rank, like your product's getting to page 1 on Amazon. W. Gaethje over the weekend. Yeah, W. Gaethje. I've answered that. Is it better to send shipment east or west? Amazon FC from China. You don't have an option. You create an Amazon shipment. Amazon tells you where the products go. On that note, everybody, make sure y'all go show some love to my last few videos. This was actually the longest live that we did since I took my hiatus, and we're back in the office, back in the lab. Y'all make sure to go show some love to the last few videos. Make sure you're following, turn on live notifications. And for those who want a more in-depth guide and to have me as your mentor along your entire Amazon journey, my exact tips, strategies, all that good stuff, be sure to check out the AMZ Masterclass in the TikTok bio. We're making a big announcement come February, and God willing, when that happens, it is going to be really, 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 really big because the mentorship is going to be nearly doubling in price because the announcement is going to be so big. When you sell a product, it's not going to get saturated. You grow with the market, Christian. What's the cost of coaching? Right now it is at $3K, but it is going up. Like I said, y'all make sure to have a blessed night. Go check out the AMZ Masterclass in the TikTok bio, and I will see y'all soon.